Hi everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Conversations and Collaborations. I am so excited to introduce you to the guest that I have today. So one of my very, very good friends, and trust me when I tell you it's taken me a very, very long time to make it work. So let me introduce her. Hello Pakisa, welcome.
Salam Nadija, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
I am so excited to have you here. So if we just start with, let's do a brief intro, because obviously let's do an intro to you. So if anyone who doesn't know you, how would you sort of describe yourself? How would you introduce yourself?
Personally, I would say if I would describe myself as a person, I'm quite bubbly, very easygoing, and I have two sides of me. I can be extroverted, but also introverted.
Okay.
So yeah, and then professionally, I'm a mindful emotion coach, and I do intuitive healing, trauma healing as well.
That's how we met.
Yes, that's how we met. And yeah, that's me.
Yeah, perfect. Well, I guess it will make sense with why I really wanted you on today's episode. So today I basically want to start off talking about like self-care, in particular within the Afghan community. So I feel like it's something that we don't really talk about. And then leading on to that, I want to touch on like boundaries and that sort of thing. Good with you?
Sounds amazing.
Yeah. So the way I always like to start it is sort of declaring what my intention is for the episode, or like what my guest's intention is for the episode. So if I start with me, I guess my intention of talking about self-care is to raise awareness about the importance of self-care and just how much it can help you and your life and even those around you. That would be like my biggest takeaway for anyone watching today.
When it comes to self-love, I would say again, self-awareness, just being aware that self-love is a major point in our life, that we have to have it, and it comes in whatever we do, being it our professional life or personal life. So and generally, over like the overview of the podcast, what my main intention is, I think just raising awareness. I think that's especially in our Afghan society, I think.
Perfect. Well, at least we're in alignment with the get-go.
Yes.
Amazing. So let's start sort of like right at the beginning. Let's start really basic. When I say self-care, what does that actually mean?
Self-care and self-love, I think in today's society, a lot of us think that it's all about us spending money, going and booking like luxurious spa days. But I think self-care is very basic. It starts from your home, from like very basic habits of like just going to sleep on time, eating healthy, exercising, drinking enough water. For me, those basic sort of needs that we have to remind ourselves on a daily basis, that's like self-care to me. And then obviously there's much, much more to it than...
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I think for me, it sort of varies on how I sort of carry out self-love, I would say. But I completely agree. I think sometimes we take the really small things for granted, like sleeping on time, good food. But don't get me wrong, I also do love a good spa day, a good massage.
Oh yeah, 100%.
A bubble bath.
Oh, 100%. Who doesn't? Come on, who doesn't?
But I completely agree. I think sometimes when we talk about self-love and self-care, especially like social media, it's like these videos of like bubble baths and candles.
It makes it so commercialized as well.
100%.
Yes.
100%. I think the way I would sort of define self-love and self-care is knowing what you need to fill your own cup.
Oh, 100%. You said it very well.
Thank you. Okay, so do you know what's so interesting? I think growing up in Afghan households, we're not really taught what self-love means.
Absolutely.
And it goes back to like, that's why you assume that what you see on social media is what self-love is.
Exactly.
So for so long, I genuinely used to think a bubble bath and candles is self-love. And that's what I would do.
Which is nice as well.
It's nice. Of course, it's nice, but I don't think it hits the spot.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think that's why I really want to talk about it, especially within the Afghan community, because I just feel like there's just the lack of understanding, lack of education around it. Let's say self-love. in the Afghan community,
Mm-hmm.
what's your general, how would you interpret it? Like, when I say self-love, Afghan, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
To be honest, it's so difficult because I believe that it's like literally non-existing in majority of the households. And again, like you mentioning it all comes down to what our parents have taught, especially our mothers, because we tend to spend a lot of time with our mothers, right? And it's all about they overgive and they prioritize everyone else over themselves. Imagine if a mother would self-care, self-love, prioritize themselves. I always say that. I prioritize myself and then it's everyone else. How much more love and energy they would be able to give to the family. And I think this is such an amazing topic, honestly, because it hits so many deep wounds, I think, that some mothers especially, I would say, because overall I think dads are all about, okay, we're providing, they obviously with work and financial sort of security and safety, whereas moms is, I think, the first person that we learn self-care and self-love from. And it makes me a bit emotional, I think, because I see so many mothers who believe that looking after themselves is like they feel guilty about it. And and it's sad.
It's like mum guilt.
Yeah, mum guilt, and it's so sad, and it shouldn't be like that. And I think unintentionally they just pass it on to us, and we are just raised without any knowledge about what self-care and self-love is. We see a mother just running around in the household, doing everything else for everyone else, and just ignoring themselves.
Yeah.
And I think that's the first sort of contact we come.
Yeah. And do you know what it is? I think maybe it's just because I know me and you, obviously we speak about this topic quite a lot, and we always say like it's not really their fault.
Absolutely
because
not.
They don't know any better.
Absolutely.
And obviously, like, let's say mothers and grandmothers and great grandmothers, it's like, as you said, it's passed down generationally.
Yes.
But I also feel like as a community, Afghans are sort of, especially Afghan women, are taught to self-sacrifice for others.
Oh, that hits.
Hits the spot.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And it's so interesting because, you know, I don't know if you've seen this visual where it's like you can't pour from an empty cup.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's like, I was listening to this thing where it's basically like Afghan mums, or like generally people who don't really adopt self-care into their day-to-day, are like a battery, right? It's like a battery that you're never charging. So yes, it might work, but it will work on like the 1% for a very long time, until it gets to a point where it can't handle it. And I feel like if we just understood the same way we charge our phones and we charge our batteries, the same way if we were to charge ourselves,
the importance of self-care and self-love,
100%, then we would have so much more to give to the world. We'd have so much more to give to our family. We'd have so much more to give to our children.
Absolutely.
But like, we just run on empty.
Yeah, and unfortunately we can't always just run empty, because the day will come where it's just gonna be a standstill.
Yeah.
And wow.
So where do you start? Let's say you were talking to my mum, your mum, someone in the older generation. Where do you start? How do you even introduce the concept of self-love to them?
You know what? Right now, I'm visualizing my mum in front of me. I would tell her to slow down. Because I think they are constantly rushing, doing things, and that again, it's not a form of like self-awareness of, because even just sitting, just being, and once you just sit with yourself and you just slow down doing whatever you do on your daily basis, I think you will become more aware that, okay, I'm lacking this, and I want to live a life differently that I'm doing it. Because if we're constantly rushing, I think it's like survival mode. We don't even realize what we're doing. So I would tell my mom to slow down.
Yeah. Okay.
I think everything else will fall into place.
Okay, and obviously I don't mean this specifically about your mum, but like generally, do you feel like they rush because they want to not slow down and they don't want to sit with themselves? I'm
see,
just thinking
again,
about it because sometimes, right? Sometimes I feel like people like the busy mindset or like the having things to constantly do. Let's say, let me give you my mum as an example, right? My mum would happily look after however many grandkids, but she would rather do that than ever just sit down and sit with herself. And it's like, what are you running away from? Like, I feel like, this is obviously my own personal opinion, I feel like they prefer that because they'd rather not sit with themselves.
Yes, 100%. But why do you think they don't want to sit with themselves?
I think it's because they don't know how to.
They don't know how to,
Yeah.
100% I agree with you, because they've never been taught to slow down, because they've witnessed their mothers doing the same thing, and their mothers have been witnessing their mothers, like you were mentioning, generation from generation. And also, when they don't sit down, their body pushes them to sit down with illnesses. And that's when it's hard. Like, I don't even want to talk about like our moms or my mom and my aunt. I'm visualizing them. Even myself, I remember there were times in my life when I was rushing. I was rushing to everything in my life, whatever I was doing, even eating food. I was just shoving it. And now, I'm like, wow, what was I doing?
100%. But it goes back to that thing, like, if you don't realise, the world will force you to stop. I very similarly, right? There was a period of my life where I used to work like multiple jobs. I used to work at M&S, I used to work at a pharmacy, I used to be at uni. I don't know, I had a really crazy lifestyle, right? And it got to a point where my mental health wasn't in the best place as it was, but I started getting migraines, really bad migraines.
See,
would literally,
your body stopped you.
100% would knock me out for days, right? And it forced me to stop. And I think that's so powerful because, like, the thing that you always tell me is, what's your body trying to tell you? Listen to your body. And ever since I've started actually incorporating, like, oh, I'm having a migraine. What am I doing right now that I need to, like, think about?
Slow down.
100%. It changes so much.
So if you never train your mind, it's all about the mindset.
Yeah.
So if you never train your mindset in your body to actually slow down, you will never be able to see what your body needs from you.
Yeah.
Mind, body, soul. They all three are interconnected, and it's amazing how much we can help ourselves to just listening.
Yeah.
Just listening to our bodies.
And I also think it's like changing, because you know how like so often a lot of Afghans are in survival mode, which you can't blame them for, because obviously everything they've gone through.
Yeah.
But it's also just teaching yourself to change from being a reactive person to a proactive person.
Wow. I love that.
Do you like it? Yeah.
I love it, yes.
So yeah, like literally when you were just saying that, I was like, back in the days, I'd have to wait for a migraine to force me to stop or to take a day off work or whatever. And it's like now when I get like a slight migraine, I'm like, oh no, I'm getting a migraine. What am I doing right now that I need to think about? And it's just changing your mindset on like how you approach life, how you approach your day to day has such a big impact.
Absolutely.
But sometimes it genuinely saddens me because I feel like I've only understood this by doing the work, you know? I only know that there is this alternative way of approaching life, or this alternative way of doing things because I'm here and I can see it. Whereas like sometimes, let's say for example, if I'm trying to take my mum along for the journey with me, because she hasn't got there yet, she can't see it. And I think it's difficult to see the benefit of something until you see the benefit of something. Does that make sense? So how do you, I guess my question is, from a very selfish perspective, how do I get people around me to see the benefit of incorporating self-love in their life if they've never done that before? If they've never experienced it?
You will love my answer to this.
Tell me.
I will tell you this.
You can't change people.
Well, yes, if they don't want to change, you can't change people.
But do you know what it is? I don't think it's it's that they don't think it works. How do you show that it works?
You can't, Nadia. This is like, it's not like you want to bake a cake and you just go look at the recipe and you want to make sure 100% the cake is going to be fine, it's going to be baked properly, it's going to rise. So maybe if it's your first time baking this cake, it might not go well. Okay, you're going to give it another try. But with a human being, see Nadia John, for example, your mum, right?
Right.
She has been living her entire life, 50 plus odd years,
Right.
just the way she is. And for her, this is okay. For her, this is absolutely fine. But what you can do is, you can step out from the ego, and rather than trying to teach her...
Girl, did you just say step out from the ego?
Yeah, because see, this is the thing. Because if you try to change her, you want to control her, right? But if you want to help her change, you can become her mirror. You do things that helps improve your lifestyle. Being
Right.
whatever it is, like helping you not having migraines, right?
Yeah.
Or anything else that you want to improve in your life, being it your health or wellness, whatever. So your mom will actually watch you. She will watch you. You're her mirror. And she will, obviously, it's going to rub off on her sooner or later, but you need to be patient with her. It's not going to happen. And it depends on each individual. This is what I've noticed. And it's not just because of your mother, John. And this has been scientifically proven. The younger the person is, the quicker it is for them. They're able, their mind is just able, their brain can change quicker. But for someone, like the age of your mother, John, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. But I just think you should just do you and be her mirror. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, I get it. I get it. But I think, do you know what it is? I think it goes back to, if you don't see it, you don't see why you would need it. Does that make sense? Because you don't know any different. So let's say your general Afghan population, they're assuming they don't have self-care in their day-to-day. How do you get them to understand the importance of it? I guess that's what I'm trying to understand. That's what I'm trying to get to.
Mirror, again.
Can't mirror the entire Afghan community.
No, honestly, I think by just showing them, this is something this might be my view, might not be yours, might not be other people's views.
Yeah.
But since I've joined social media, one thing that I've noticed, like this is something that I saw, like I've been like witnessing for many years. Whatever I show them, that what I do to help me in my life, visually especially, not just by telling them, I think it helps them do that, not copy me, but it just makes them more self-aware of changing their maybe bad habits and go more towards self-love, rather than me just sitting there and trying to preach them something to change.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah, no, I completely get that. Like, do you know there's something similar when they say about like kids?
Yeah.
When it's like, kids learn by watching you rather than by listening
100%.
to you. I think it's a similar sort of concept.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I like the way you
I
put
have
that,
one at
actually.
home, and trust me, I can't tell her to get off her phone when I'm on my phone. Obviously, I'm on my phone for so many different reasons. I'm paying my bills, I'm chatting to clients, I'm doing whatever on my phone. But that's the same thing.
Yeah. Okay, do you know what? This actually brings us really nicely to this topic. What would you, I think, not generally, more specifically like self-love, self-care, what would you teach your daughter that you weren't taught?
That I wasn't taught when it comes to self-love.
Yeah.
You know what? I wasn't taught so many things, but funnily, I was self-aware from a very young age. I don't know how.
Okay.
And I'm trying to teach her that, and I've realized by me, ego, preaching her, on, you need to put body lotion on your body. She's gonna love watching this. Do this, do that. And I saw that this is not working.
Yeah.
This is not working at all. So then I had to come to the conclusion with myself that Pokiza, she is your daughter, but she's not your property. She's a completely different person than you, with a completely different mindset. What did I do? So then I started studying her a little bit more. Like, okay, why is she not doing the stuff that I'm asking her to do? It's because she looked at me constantly being like a pushover and telling her to, is it a pushover? No, what do you say that when you... Dictate, yeah, dictating her. But then I started buying her stuff. Like, for example, she doesn't like to put body lotion on her body that leaves like a greasy sort of residue. So I looked into the market. I've got her something that doesn't leave a residue on her skin. And now she loves it. She uses it. And also, I think, again, I'm her mirror. I do all the things that I want her to do.
Right.
But it's so difficult, Nadia John. This is exactly the same thing with your mother, John. She's not like me. There are days that she doesn't want to do things that I want to do.
Yeah.
But I still have to love her and respect her the way she is. And I guess, yeah.
You know, you use a really interesting term. She's not my property.
She's not my property,
Let's
absolutely.
go into that. What do you mean by that?
I think especially in the Afghan community, we treat our children...
Just gives me like goosebumps, but yeah, go on.
Yeah, in the Afghan community, I think, with all due respect to all our mums and dads, I love you all. Then I love my mum, I love my dad. They've done the best that they could do, but unfortunately, they treat us like their properties and they just want to mold us into whatever they want us to be molded in. Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
And unfortunately, most of it is from whatever goals that they haven't accomplished in their lives and they want to accomplish it through us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just their ideology and a lot of other things as well that we live in the 21st century, a lot has changed, a lot has improved, and we don't live in Afghanistan anymore, right? Of course, we have to respect our elderlies, we have to continue like with our culture and with our values and all that, but we are our own beings. Yeah. And unfortunately, even now I struggle to teach this to my parents, especially my mother.
Yeah.
I love you, Mom. Because she still thinks sometimes that she can control me. And again, form of ego and control. There you go.
Okay. Can we go into this a little bit more?
Yeah.
This is so off topic with self-care, but
yeah.
let's go about. Okay, do you know what's really interesting? Because when you were talking, I had goosebumps and whoa.
Yeah.
But I think it's also, it's quite contradictory to what I've always heard.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's like my personal upbringing, probably. Like I've always been told, I've always heard things along the lines of like, when you're in this house, you're kind of like our property. When you get married and you go to your husband's house, you're like his property. And it's like, what? And I think that's why it's such a interesting thing to hear.
Do you hear how sad that is?
Oh yeah, 100%.
So sad.
100%. But I agree it's sad. I think with a lot of awareness, I'm very aware it's sad. But I also feel like there's very few Afghan aunties or uncles that are bat-eyed at that. Like it's normalized.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But then again, we have a lot of families, mothers and fathers who actually appreciate having independent girls or sons to live their lives by their choices. And we can't have our own clones. Come on. What's the point of being someone's child but not actually being yourself? Like you're someone's child, yes, by name, but as an individual you're someone completely different. You're not them.
Isn't that the whole point? Don't Afghans have kids to have their own clones?
Yes, and unfortunately, that's why we have so many, I think, cultural issues as well. Why do you think so many of us Afghans, I was one of them, who was suffering from low self-confidence. It took me years and years and years to just like be able to just love myself the way I was, because I thought I'm just a clone of my parents, and I was never I was never allowed to be who I was. No one allowed me to use my voice, right? And I don't want this to happen to my daughter, even though it's a pain to raise her, because she is very, very like independent, and she's like, oh, I know better than you, Mom. And I get to hear this, and trust me, there's times we clash, and I don't have all the time the energy to just put up with it. But it's difficult for me now, but I know that the day will come that she basically, I'm raising a leader, not a sheep, Nadia John.
I heard the first time I heard you say this, I was like, wow.
Yeah, and I can see that in her. She's only 14 years old, and I see that the struggles that she goes, because she goes to a girls' school, and girls sometimes, as we know, we used to be girls. We used to, I mean, we still are, I mean, we're women now, but I mean, like, girls can be quite mean.
Trust me, I know, I went to a girls' school too.
So there you go. I didn't, thank God, shukr. And I can see that in her. I'm like, so you've done something right here.
Definitely. I think it's from, also off topic, but from like the times I've met your daughter, 100%, I agree. Like, you can tell that, I feel like parenting is a whole topic on its own. I feel like it needs an entire hour.
Yes.
But do you know what it is? I feel like you can see the difference between active parenting and passive parenting. And that is when you bring up a leader rather than a sheep. Just powerful. That was just like me appreciating your parenting.
Thank you so much. Mwah, love you for that.
Do you know what it is? I think it brings us very nicely. Let's talk about boundaries. I think I see self-care and boundaries interlinked.
Okay.
Right? I think from my understanding you don't.
No, I don't, and I would love to hear your view about it. Yes.
Okay, so the way I see boundaries is, the reason why I see them as connected is because I feel like self-care is, like we sort of said earlier, like prioritizing yourself to then have the energy to be there for other people, right? And I think boundaries let you do that. Having good boundaries, or like making sure that people don't cross your boundaries, or if there is something you need, or there's some time you need for yourself, all of this kind of thing, it allows you to make time and effort for self-care. That's how I see it. That's why I think they're interlinked.
Okay.
Tell me why you think they're not interlinked. I mean, I know they're obviously separate entities, of course.
Yeah.
But I do feel like they kind of go hand in hand.
I guess when you say self-care, to me, self-care, another form of self-care is energetically, right?
Okay.
So that you don't let people, or you don't surround yourself with people that energetically they're not like a positive vibe, like you don't get a positive energy from them, or like you don't charge from them, rather than they just energy vampires, they just suck the life out of you. I think that probably maybe, I don't know, you need to like convince me in this.
I mean, we can disagree.
Yeah. This is a very healthy. We disagree on so many topics. See, this is called healthy discussions.
No, but do you know what it is? The way I see it is like, if I did not have boundaries, I would struggle to care for myself. I would struggle to prove to myself that I am worthy of prioritizing myself, or making time for myself.
Okay.
Or I think I see it like
side.
that.
Okay.
That
yeah. Okay. That makes
So
that
we
makes a
agree,
little sense. Yes, we agree. If it makes you happy.
No. We can agree to disagree. Yeah, I think that's why I see it. I see it as like, boundaries allow me to have self-care. Boundaries allow me to care for myself. Boundaries allow me to love myself without because do you know what it is? I think
without feeling guilty. Yeah.
And by understanding that I need to have self-love to show up in the world, show up for other people. And not having boundaries means that you can be surrounded by like energy vampires for starters. But also you can end up being what we said earlier about like our mothers, or like older generations, where they overgive as a form of loving you, without understanding that that's also from like a lack of boundaries.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course.
So what would you define as boundaries? I've gone off on like a whole tangent about boundaries, but how do you sort of describe boundaries?
This topic is like...
I mean, I have to
crazy.
be very honest with you. This is a topic I really struggled with. And I think obviously we've worked together for ages. Like it was something that was very, very hard for me.
Yeah.
Because it's something, it goes back to what we said earlier. It goes back to like, I've never had experience putting boundaries in place.
I guess now it kind of makes sense why you've interconnected self-love and boundaries.
Yeah.
Because I was lacking boundaries before as well. And when I started loving myself, when I started prioritizing myself, I think my boundaries got stronger as well.
100%. That's why. That's why I did it.
Wow, Nadia, thank you. You taught me so much today.
So, I know I kind of went off on a tangent about boundaries and self-care, but I think let's also take boundaries back to like the start. Why do you think having boundaries is so important? And maybe what is boundaries? What is a boundary?
First of all, let me just, I think our parents teach us boundaries.
Okay.
It comes from living in a home where you are taught to set healthy boundaries and towards your parents, and your parents teach you to set healthy boundaries towards them. For example, not entering your room. I guess again, like you were mentioning earlier as well, that it just interconnects with self-love and self-care, that later on in life, it's just the basic boundaries that we're taught as children. We continue using those boundaries in our everyday life, being it in our professional or being it in our personal life. It's very simple. I think being comfortable with doing something and not being comfortable with, and again, if you are self-aware and if you know that these are my boundaries, then I guess you can make healthier decisions and choices.
Yeah, 100%. I think I would completely agree. I think it's being comfortable with basically saying what you are happy with, what you're not happy with.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
So, and I agree that, so let's say for example for me, I've always really struggled with boundaries because I think it's like the people pleaser with me.
Oh, people pleaser, yes, of course.
That obviously makes boundaries very difficult. And I
Say
feel
no.
like, that's like a challenge on its own.
Yeah, say no.
But I think also like upbringing wise, I would actually admit that I don't think me or any of my siblings are very good at setting boundaries. Like we weren't really taught boundaries. Even like now, trying to enforce boundaries at home is quite difficult.
I know, girl. I know.
But I think ever since, and do you know what it is? I think as a result, it's obviously bled into like my friendships, bled into like any relationship, bled into professional relationships, platonic, all of that. And the saddest part is you don't realise that a lot of it comes from your lack of boundaries until you do the work. And it's like, I think I've told you this before, like a lot of like my relationships or like, you know, like platonic relationships, once I started having boundaries, they just kind of like died.
They just vanished in air.
And you're like, damn, did this relationship only last because I didn't have boundaries? And I think that's why we naturally, especially as people pleasers, I think people pleasers are great to have around because they kind of make your life easy, you know? But when a people pleaser does the work on themselves and they finally start having boundaries, you realise that a lot of your relationships probably weren't that genuine. And I think not having the knowledge or not having the, I guess skills, it's a very good skill. Not having the skills of setting very good boundaries means that you end up attracting or keeping people in your life that probably should have never been there in the first place. It's the thing of like, you don't know what you don't know. Like when I had people in my life that, you know, probably weren't good for me, or I probably only had in my life because I didn't have boundaries, I didn't know that at the time. But it's only when you look at a relationship with hindsight and you're like, damn, that only worked because I didn't have boundaries. So how do you even get the awareness? Because I'll be honest with you, for a vast majority of my life, I lacked the awareness. So where do you even start? How do you even know if you are good at setting boundaries or not?
You know, up until now, I was looking at boundaries from a very different perspective, and you taught me something. Again, it goes back to self-love and self-care. Because when you actually love yourself, like for example, let's give an example. It's say past your bedtime, and a friend calls you up and wants to come over, I don't know, watch a movie, and you know, next day you've got an early meeting, but because you're lacking boundaries and you are people pleaser and you don't know how to say no, you just go along with it. Right?
Yeah.
And that person, obviously, they lack it as well, because you mentioned earlier that the more you worked on yourself, a lot of people or a lot of relationships that you had, friendship-wise, they just vanished because you made stronger boundaries, or you worked on your boundaries even more and you said no to them. But that only means that they lack it as well. Because if they especially self-love and self-care, they lack self-love, because if they would love themselves, they would understand that, okay, the reason Nadia is telling me that it's late, I've got a meeting the next day, I need to sleep, they would understand, because obviously they lack it. They're not able to understand it, right?
I get that, but don't you think boundaries look different for everyone? This is me being devil's advocate. Do you think boundaries look different?
I think there's a foundation for boundaries. There's just a basic foundation. I think we all have to have it, but then obviously how you use it in your life, that's different. And especially like in our Afghan culture with our parents, come on, I mean, as much as we try to set boundaries and put them as high as possible, there are times that they just try to push it as well. And don't you think we actually teach our parents as well boundaries?
Yes. I don't know how successful it's been in my in my case, but I have to be honest with you, I definitely feel like it's made a very big impact. So, you know, let's say for example, my mum's expecting guests, right? Oh, very good example. We had this exact situation in a couple of days. So like, my mum's got guests, but I've obviously like pre-booked a locum shift, and I finish work at like 9 p.m. So by the time I get to my mum's, it'd be like 10. So my mum yesterday was like, I don't care.
You have to come.
I don't care. I don't care what time you finish. You have to come. If anything, don't go to work and come to my gathering, right? And I'm like, I can't do that. Like, I can't just cancel a locum shift because you've got guests that you have planned 2 days in advance.
So what have you decided?
I'm not going. But
yeah. Well done to you.
But you know what it is? It's taken her a very, very long time. It goes back to what you said earlier. Like, so many of these things, it just requires you to be patient. And I think my mum is finally getting to a point where she's like understood that I actually set my boundaries and I kind of don't move from them. But it took a lot of work. It took a lot of work for us to get to the place where she'll still say her bit in terms of, oh, I'm not happy that you're not coming, considering, you know, I've got guests and you're not turning up. It doesn't look good. I think that's a very big thing. It doesn't look good.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I think she's also, my mum has this saying, I think generally my family have this saying where they go, you know what, you'll do whatever you want anyway. So it's kind of like, what's the point of me giving you advice? Because you're going to do whatever you want to do anyway. And I genuinely used to be really offended by that. And I used to be like, no, I'm good, I listen to you. But like now, with hindsight, I'm kind of like, yeah, I do. Because at the end of the day, I know that what I do isn't wrong.
Absolutely.
And I know that what I'm doing is what I need to do for me.
For you.
Rather than what you want me to do because it makes you more comfortable or it makes you look good or that kind of thing. But it's a journey. You know?
But do you see that again, because she's lacking it?
Yeah.
She's trying to, obviously, she wants to push her thoughts or whatever the way she wants you to be, because she lacks it herself onto you. And again, it's like a vicious circle, because she lacks it, and then obviously she doesn't know how to set boundaries, and then it comes to you. And I can imagine that at times it's quite hard, because I feel the same as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also sometimes, like, do you know what it is? I think sometimes when I think about Afghans generally, part of me is just upset for them. Because I'm like, you guys don't understand how liberating life is when you have better boundaries. And it's just, I feel like because they haven't had the mental space all the time to work on their boundaries, they don't know how different it can be. Like, imagine, let's say for example my mum, I feel like I've mentioned her a lot, but it's not really directly her. I mean, like, let's say
just
someone
in
that
general,
represents same sort of age, mindset, whatever. But
Khalajam, we love you.
but it's like, imagine how much more fulfilling their life would be if they learned the art of setting boundaries.
Absolutely, but again, it comes down to if they are ready and they want to bring those changes in their life, because change is uncomfortable, right? And no one likes to be uncomfortable.
That is so true.
Especially at that age as well. I think it's more difficult for them to adapt to change, but it's not that they can't change. 100%. They can. They can change. It's just they need to want to change.
100%. You know, like back in the days, I don't know how many years, maybe like 20 years ago, there used to be this mentality of like, when you get to a certain age, you can't change anymore.
No.
And then obviously, like, the science has come out where we have like neuroplasticity.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter on the age, you can always rewire
your brain. Yes.
But it comes down to, do you want to? And like, I think especially like at home, older generation, it's like I'm too old to change. And it's like, no, you're too old to want to change. And it's fine if you don't want to change. But like...
And I don't blame them either. I don't blame them. Yeah, no, I don't blame them, honestly. I think see Nadia Jan.
See, this is my judgmental side coming out now.
No, I think, look, Nadia Jan, I think we're quite lucky. When I say we, I'm talking about you, our generation, your generation, my generation. I'm a little older than Nadia Jan. I think we're quite lucky because look at us, like, we're so self-aware. We have all the tools around us that we actually use. Not many of us use it, but me and you, we use it, so we have the tools. But our parents never had the tools, right? And now they've come to an age where, like, it's much more difficult for them to change. Maybe it being language barriers. In the Afghan community, we only have a few. How many, like, people who are educated who actually teach us about boundaries and all that? There's not many of them. Do you know where I'm coming from?
But you know what it is? I think it goes back to the point of, like, I think me and you are quite comfortable being black sheeps.
Yeah.
But let's say...
Because being black sheeps is uncomfortable.
And I think that's what it is. Yeah. So let's say...
It's being disliked.
100%.
It's being ugly. It's tough. It's not a nice feeling. But you know that at the end of the tunnel, there is light.
And I think that's the issue. I think because if someone in that generation was to work on themselves, they would be disliked, ugly, all of the things.
They can't handle that.
And they can't handle that.
Their hearts are too weak for that.
Yeah, I think they're just too soft for it.
Yeah.
And it's like they would rather, it goes back, it's that sad thing of like...
It's just that mentality, I think.
They would rather just go along with what they've been told or what other people do without actually thinking about what is right for me or what's the right thing for me to actually do here.
Which is being selfish, and I think when it comes to boundaries and self-love, being selfish it's not a wrong thing.
But you know what it is? I completely agree with you, but I think the word selfish has a lot of negative connotations.
Yeah, it does, but not in this
100%.
This manner. Yeah.
And it's like, you have to be selfish to be able to be selfless.
Oh, wow, yes. This is how we talk, like, on a daily basis.
This is why it works.
I swear to God.
But genuinely, like, you have to be selfish to then be able to be selfless. Like, there are so many, I think me and you have so many people, okay, maybe we used to have so many people in our surroundings that would, like, be selfless. Or they would, like, they don't actually realize the impact of them being selfless. And I think it goes back to what we said earlier, like, sometimes if you don't make the change and if you don't prioritize yourself and your body your body will force
Yeah,
you
100%.
to prioritize yourself.
Yeah.
Like you get to a point where you're so selfless, you don't care about yourself at all, you just care about other people, and you get so ill where you actually can't even care for yourself. Like, so much of that. Does that make sense?
Literally.
Yeah?
Literally, yeah. Your body shuts down because obviously you're not taking care of it, you're not looking after it the way you should, and it's like, that's it. I can't do no more, and you need to now sit with this. Yeah. You being a migraine, and I still suffer from sciatica and lower back pain. And touch wood, the other day I was meditating and I was like, oh my God, I haven't had a flare up in such a long time, and it's all because I have been really prioritizing to look after myself. I'm just hibernating, and my body wants to hibernate, and I'm hibernating, even if it's like maybe at times I had to cancel on you, or even like today I had to cancel at my friends where we planned it last week, and I'm like, no, but again, self-love and boundaries.
Yeah. My mom has this habit, right?
Yeah.
Where, let's say, we're eating, she will make sure she gives everyone all the good food, and then she'll just kind of have whatever's left, right? This triggers me so much, right?
Yeah.
Or, like, let's say they go out to eat somewhere, like some of them, let's say half the family go out to eat somewhere, she'll feel uncomfortable because the other half of the family isn't there, right? And she'll literally call me and she'll be like, Nanda grunn bad wanda, or like, the food hasn't gone down my throat because you're not eating. And I'm like, what are you saying?
Do you think that's just that her generation has this issue, or do you think a younger mother will do the same thing?
I think a younger mother that hasn't done the work would do the same thing. I've seen it. Without giving too many examples. I've seen it too. I do think it's definitely
I've got a very, very close friend who was doing this. Like, literally not buying herself stuff.
Yeah.
And literally, like, avoiding to spend, like, bare minimum on herself, but designer stuff for her child or children, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, and then we met, and I was like, and then she saw me, and then she was like, wow, okay, there is a different life to being a mother. A mother's not always about like self-sacrificing, right?
Okay, obviously I think in today's day and age it doesn't make a huge impact, right? Of course, like, you're never going to go hungry. Of course, we know this, living in the UK.
But that's not the point, though.
The point is not that, exactly.
Yeah.
But let's say if we think about it in terms of like back in the days, tribal, like, if we think about it very practically, it would have made a very big difference.
Absolutely. Physically, for her.
Exactly, right? But although maybe in today's day and age it's not that big of a deal, the food itself, but the concept applies to everything.
Exactly.
And it goes back to like the same way back in the days, as a tribal woman, if you were to do that rather than looking after yourself to then be able to look after your kids, you would be able to see the physical impact of malnourishment. I think in today's day and age the same thing applies, but maybe less malnourishment, but also just you not taking care of yourself would then manifest in your lack of ability to care for your children. So let's say if you are not there, or you don't do the work on yourself and your mental health, if your child goes through something, you're never going to be able to be there for them.
Don't you think that looking after your wellness, your overall well-being, it's a form of self-love as well?
100%. Yeah, but I also feel like it's your religious obligation too.
Oh, 100%.
Like, as
100%.
Yeah, like as a Muslim, it goes back to like your body is your number, is like a loan, like a namana. You know what I mean? So I feel like as Afghans, it's so sad that we don't see it like that. Like, we're all quite religious, you know, but like so often the fundamentals and things that are so important or that affect your day to day are things that we kind of like brush past. Why?
Again, I think it goes back to cultural upbringing, I think, and because at the end of the day, like, religion itself, like Islam teaches us so many beautiful things. As a mother itself, like, or as a woman, how we should take care of ourselves, and then to be able, like, even imagine, like, going back to self-love, imagine if a mother who has just given birth and they don't consume the right nutrition, how they're able to breastfeed the newborn. Like, this is like basic. So religion does teach us all these things as well, that we need to be self-aware and we need to love ourselves. But unfortunately, I think cultural, it has a lot to do with talim and tarbiyah, cultural upbringing and just the household that we were raised in, I think.
Yeah. So I feel like we've spoken about boundaries quite a lot, and I think I sort of want to bring it to an end. Let's say practical steps, because I feel like a lot of people don't know that they lack boundaries. I mean, I was definitely one of them. So what would you say practically are things that people can do if they A, want to know whether they have boundaries or if it's something they need to work on, and maybe B, how they can start slowly enforcing boundaries or upholding boundaries in their life?
I think probably either being it in your personal or professional life, anything that is comfortable to you and you are able to say no and it makes you happy, that means, okay, you are somehow you're capable of, or you're able to set healthy boundaries. And then of course that people always will try to push your boundaries.
So I think this is really interesting because the way that I started working on boundaries is by accepting that no is a complete sentence. And like, let's say for example, because as a people pleaser, I would often never be able to just say no. I'd say no, like, no, because you can't come today because I'm doing this and I'm doing that, or no, I can't do this because I've got this and I've got that. And it's like, so often I would have to justify why I felt like I needed to say no, because it's almost like I wasn't allowed to say no. And I could only say no if I had a justifiable reason. And I feel like giving myself the permission to say no, and that's it. So I started with like lots of really simple steps of like, let's say at work, do you want an extra shift? Like, it's not an obligation for me to take up an extra shift, and I don't have to. So I'd be like, no. And then I think the more you do it, the more comfortable and confident you become doing it.
You're practicing it. Yes.
It's like
it's all about practicing. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And I think at times I don't think it's wrong that for certain people in your life you might need a little bit of an explanation why it's a no, but it shouldn't be a must that you need to explain yourself to everyone when you are not happy or comfortable with something. You're just not happy or comfortable. Yeah,
100%. And I think it just, if we were to sort of conclude the self-care topic, I know me and you got sidetracked, but I guess this is like a conversation of me and you at home.
Absolutely. And this is, I think our viewers will love it as well, because this is like, come on, you guys can see this is not edited, we haven't even like prepared for this, but we're just using experiences and
and I think that's all it comes down to.
That's like, what the beauty is about.
100%. It's like just having honest conversations about how much it's helped us in our day-to-day, with the aim of maybe someone seeing that the potential benefit in their own personal life.
Exactly.
And like a few steps that they could incorporate into their day-to-day and see, essentially reap the rewards of it.
Of course.
Yeah?
Yes.
Is there anything that you feel like we haven't covered that you want to cover?
I think we've covered...
About these topics, let's not get sidetracked.
Oh my god, no. No, I think we've covered enough.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm happy.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming today. I've absolutely loved this conversation. I feel like it was just like such a nice little chat.
I agree.
I genuinely
so
really
much
enjoyed it.
for having me.
I cannot wait for us to record another episode together.
Yes. Well done. Thank you.